From meat to marriage, the human who unintentionally bought a widowed alien woman, Jason Miller, had never thought he would end up in an interstellar market. Earth had its fairs and flea markets, but nothing prepared him for the sight of a million different species, smells, and lights mingling in one enormous space station. He wandered through the corridors of Station X-47 with a mix of awe and confusion. Merchants shouted in languages he didn't know, and colors danced across the stalls in ways that made him feel dizzy. He was here to find rare spices for his small restaurant back on Earth, not to get involved in anything else. He passed by an enormous stall that caught his attention. It was called Companions and Curiosities, and it glowed with soft purple light. Curious, Jason slowed down. Inside, he saw a mixture of items he couldn't understand. Strange crystals that floated in the air, small mechanical pets, and cages with creatures that blinked at him with intelligent eyes. At the far end of the stall stood a tall, graceful figure that made him stop in his tracks. She was unlike anything Jason had ever seen. Her skin was a smooth lavender, and her eyes were large, violet, and full of emotion. Her hair shimmered like spun silver, cascading past her shoulders. She wore flowing garments that hinted at elegance and status. Jason could tell she wasn't just another creature in a cage. There was intelligence in her gaze, a quiet strength that made him instinctively respect her. What is she?" Jason asked the merchant, pointing to the woman. "She is available," the merchant said, his tone polite but firm. "You may bid if you are interested." He was just curious, but before he could say anything else, he noticed a glowing panel beside the cage. Without thinking, he pressed it. A loud chime echoed through the market. Jason jumped back. "Winner, the human has won," the merchant announced. Jason's stomach dropped. "Wait, I didn't. Please come forward to finalize your purchase." "No mistake," the merchant said. "You have officially purchased Lyris. The ceremony can proceed immediately." Lyra stepped forward gracefully, her gaze never leaving Jason. "You do not understand," she said softly, her voice musical but firm. "In my society, widows are made available for purchase after the death of their mate. This is not slavery but tradition. You have assumed a role now." "I didn't mean to buy anyone." A human standing in front of a tall alien woman he didn't know, suddenly responsible for her status. "Can this be undone?" he asked nervously. Lyris shook her head. "Not easily. It would require intervention from the elders on my home planet. It is simpler for both of us to proceed with the arrangement, at least temporarily." But when he looked at her eyes, he noticed a spark of intelligence and quiet dignity that made him reconsider. Perhaps he could navigate this. Perhaps he could do something right, even in this strange situation. The merchant gestured toward a nearby chamber. "Please follow. The ceremony will begin." "Do not panic," she said. "You will learn what is expected." Jason realized this was far more than a simple purchase. This was a ritual, and he was at the center of it. One of the elders, tall and imposing, stepped forward. "Jason Miller of Earth," he intoned. "You have assumed the responsibility of Lyris, widow of the late Kale. This tradition honors both the living and the deceased. To proceed, you must demonstrate respect, understanding, and willingness to learn the ways of our people." Jason was asked questions about human culture, and though they seemed trivial, he answered honestly, admitting his ignorance when necessary. Lyris added clarifications for him, translating some of the subtle meanings in her society. Together, they navigated the ritual, and Jason noticed that even the elders seemed impressed by his honesty and willingness to adapt. By the end of the ceremony, the council pronounced him temporary custodian of Lyris. The word didn't feel right, but it seemed to satisfy their traditions. Jason exhaled, relieved. He had survived the first step. Back on his starship, Jason tried to make sense of it all. Lyris sat across from him, observing quietly. "You are curious and brave in your own way," she said. "But you must understand that our societies differ greatly. My role and yours is more than what you see here. It will test both of us. You are capable of more than you think." They laughed together over simple things, like Jason's awkward attempts to pronounce her people's complex greetings, and she explained the subtle nuances in her society's etiquette. Despite the strangeness, he felt a bond forming. Their conversation was interrupted when the ship's alarm sounded. A small pirate vessel had detected Jason's ship and attempted to board for the rare goods he carried. Without hesitation, Jason sprang into action, improvising with the ship systems to block the intruders. Lyris, observing, offered suggestions and strategies based on her society's combat knowledge. Together, they outsmarted the pirates, proving that even in crisis, their cooperation could be powerful. After the danger passed, Jason realized something important. He had stumbled into this bizarre situation accidentally, but he had handled it with courage, intelligence, and a willingness to learn. Lyris looked at him with a mixture of admiration and amusement, and he felt a warmth he didn't expect. "You did well," she said. "Many humans might have panicked, but you adapted. That is a rare quality." "I just did what I had to do." Lyra studied the stars quietly, her hand brushing his accidentally as she adjusted her position. Jason felt a strange but comforting sense of camaraderie. They were strangers from different worlds, thrown together by chance and circumstance, yet already learning to navigate life side by side. Jason knew that the universe was vast and full of dangers, mysteries, and wonders. But as he glanced at Lyris, he realized that perhaps humans had more to offer the galaxy than anyone had imagined. Resourcefulness, empathy, courage, and a willingness to adapt, qualities that he had relied on today, could open doors in ways even advanced civilizations did not expect. The first step had been taken. The next steps would be harder, but Jason felt ready. With Lyris by his side, he might not just survive this strange adventure, he might thrive in it. And maybe, just maybe, the universe would learn something new about humans through him. For the first time in his life, Jason felt truly part of something larger than himself. He was no longer just a trader seeking spices. He was an accidental pioneer, standing on the edge of an adventure that would test his mind, his courage, and his heart. And as the ship hummed softly through the endless stars, Jason realized that this accidental purchase might be the beginning of a story unlike any other. A story where humans could shine, even among the stars. Life aboard Jason's starship quickly became a mixture of routine, surprises, and lessons he hadn't expected. Lyris, despite the unusual circumstances of their meeting, moved with grace and confidence through the ship, learning human tools and systems. Jason tried to show her everything he could, from operating the engines to navigating trade regulations, but the learning curve was steep. "You need to adjust this control," Jason said, pointing to a lever that regulated the ship's energy output. "If you push it too far, the ship overheats. Too little and we stall." How did you do that so easily?" he asked, genuinely impressed. "It is about observation," she replied calmly. "I watch, I understand the pattern, then I act. I have learned many things from my society's rituals and strategies. This is not difficult once you see the logic." Humans had instincts, but aliens like Lyris seemed to operate on another level of analysis entirely. Still, he admired her skill. "Well, I guess that makes me lucky," he said with a grin. "You're a quick learner. Skill and patience matter far more." Jason listened intently, fascinated. He had always thought human culture was unique, but Lyris's stories opened a new window into the universe. Humans were not the only intelligent species, but their ingenuity, adaptability, and courage could hold their own against the most advanced civilizations. "You have humans all wrong," she said one evening as the ship glided silently through a star cluster. "Many think you are impulsive, limited by emotion. Yet I see courage, creativity, and compassion that surpasses even our expectations. You adapt, you survive, and you care. Those qualities are rare. I just try to do what seems right." Jason had arranged a trade on a nearby planet, hoping to gather supplies and rare spices for his Earth business. The planet, known for its floating markets and dangerous undercurrents, was both fascinating and unpredictable. As soon as they landed, a group of local traders recognized Lyris. Whispers spread quickly, and some traders approached Jason with suspicious glances. You are with her," one of them asked, voice low. "She is special, and she has obligations to her homeworld. But you must follow my guidance. Do not act rashly." Suddenly, a commotion broke out. A group of rogue merchants attempted to take advantage of Jason's unfamiliarity with the planet. They surrounded him, demanding he hand over his goods. Jason's heart raced, but he remembered Lyris's calm instructions. "Use your leverage," she whispered. "Show them the pattern of your movement. Make them hesitate." Once they were clear, Jason exhaled deeply. "I didn't think I could do that," he admitted. "You did," Lyris said simply. "You adapted. That is what humans do best. When faced with the unknown, you innovate and survive. That is a rare gift." He was beginning to understand Lyris not just as a companion, but as someone whose wisdom complemented his own instincts. Their journey continued, taking them to planets with strange environments, alien customs, and unpredictable dangers. Each challenge reinforced the bond between them. On one ice-covered world, they had to navigate treacherous cliffs while avoiding aggressive wildlife. On another, they helped a settlement defend itself against space raiders, using a combination of human ingenuity and Lyris's strategic insight. Jason's admiration for Lyris grew. Her knowledge of diplomacy, her calm assessment of danger, and her ability to inspire confidence in others were remarkable. But he also realized that her respect for him was not unearned. He solved problems creatively, remained courageous in the face of danger, and showed empathy to those they encountered. Together, they demonstrated that humans and aliens could achieve extraordinary things when they worked as equals. One evening, as they traveled through a quiet nebula, Jason reflected on the journey. "I never expected to meet someone like you," he said, breaking the comfortable silence. "Not in a million years. Care is easy when someone makes it worth it. We balance each other." Here, humans were rare, and Jason's presence drew immediate attention. Officials scrutinized him, questioning his knowledge of local trade laws and his association with Lyris. Jason admitted his ignorance honestly, and Lyris intervened to explain his intentions. The officials, initially skeptical, were impressed by their teamwork. Jason navigated the bureaucracy using human ingenuity, finding loopholes, improvising solutions, and negotiating terms that benefited both parties. Lyris's calm explanations and strategic advice amplified his effectiveness. By the end of their stay, the officials respected them both. Jason realized that his human traits, adaptability, persistence, and empathy, combined with Lyris's knowledge and precision, created a powerful force. They had survived misunderstandings, threats, and challenges, proving that humans could indeed shine among advanced civilizations. One night, as they gazed at the stars from the observation deck, Jason spoke softly. "I used to think humans were small, limited, but traveling with you, seeing how we can handle things, maybe we're not so limited after all. And you have proven that even when circumstances are unexpected." Rival traders, dangerous planets, and the expectations of her society would continue to test them. But they were ready, not just because of skill, but because of the bond they had formed. Together, they were stronger than any challenge the universe could present. And somewhere deep inside, Jason realized something extraordinary. Being human did not mean being limited. With courage, creativity, and empathy, humans could rise to meet the stars. With Lyris by his side, he was not just surviving, he was proving the value of humanity in ways that mattered across worlds. In the vast, uncharted reaches of space, a human and a widowed alien woman were learning, growing, and thriving together. Their partnership was unconventional, unexpected, and entirely accidental. Yet it was powerful, built on trust, courage, and mutual respect, a story that had only just begun. As they drifted toward the next trading hub, Jason glanced at Lyris. "No matter what happens next," he said quietly, "we'll handle it together." The stars glimmered outside the ship's observation deck as Jason and Lyris prepared for the next leg of their journey. The galaxy, vast and unpredictable, seemed calm tonight, but both of them knew that peace rarely lasted long in their line of travel. Lyris had received a message from her homeworld, and the words carried weight Jason could not ignore. The elders had taken notice of his involvement in her life. Some were curious, others were skeptical, questioning whether a human could truly honor their traditions and responsibilities. Jason frowned as he read the message. "It seems my accidental purchase isn't as simple as I thought," he said, rubbing his forehead. "Her elders, they want to see if I'm worthy. They are concerned with more than ceremony. They want to understand if humans are capable of the values we hold most dear: respect, courage, and understanding of duty. This is not meant to punish you, but to test you. I hope they don't expect me to recite some ancient rituals or anything," he muttered. "You may need to," Lyra said softly, "but I will guide you. We will face this together." Lyris, calm and composed, remained a steady presence. She helped him prepare mentally, teaching him about the customs, traditions, and expectations he would encounter. Jason realized that to survive this, he could not rely solely on human ingenuity. He had to respect alien protocols, understand subtle cues, and demonstrate patience. Upon arrival, the sight of Lyris's homeworld took his breath away. Towers of crystalline structures glowed with soft light, reflecting the twin suns that bathed the planet. Hovering gardens, intricate bridges, and vast plazas spoke of a civilization both ancient and advanced. Aliens of countless shapes and sizes moved gracefully, their eyes curious but respectful as they observed the human among them. Jason felt a sudden wave of anxiety. "I don't know if I belong here," he whispered. "You do," Lyra said firmly. "Do not let fear dictate your actions. Show them your integrity, your courage, and your respect. That is all that matters." "Jason Miller of Earth," one elder began, voice resonant and commanding. "You have assumed a role in our society unexpectedly. Your actions will be judged not by your species, but by your adherence to our values. Demonstrate your understanding of honor, respect, and duty, and you will earn recognition. Fail, and you may bring disfavor upon yourself and Lyris." He had dealt with danger before, but this was different. This was not physical, it was cultural, psychological, and emotional. Every word, every gesture mattered. Over the next days, the council devised a series of trials. They were not violent in the conventional sense, but each was designed to test intellect, courage, empathy, and adaptability. Jason was introduced to puzzles rooted in alien history, moral dilemmas that challenged his assumptions, and strategic exercises designed to evaluate his ability to make decisions under pressure. Lyris guided him quietly. "Observe patterns," she whispered during one challenge. "Think not just logically, but morally. Our people value wisdom as much as courage." While most would have relied on tradition alone, Jason suggested a compromise that incorporated elements from both human negotiation and alien customs. The elders were visibly impressed. Despite the challenges, Jason found moments of humor and connection. Lyris often whispered subtle explanations or encouraged him with small gestures. He realized that their partnership was no longer accidental. Together, they were a force, combining human ingenuity with alien wisdom. One trial was particularly daunting. Jason was required to navigate a ceremonial labyrinth that simulated life's moral and strategic challenges. At each turn, holographic figures presented ethical dilemmas, dangerous obstacles, and unexpected twists. He had to decide whom to help, what risks to take, and how to proceed with limited information. Lyris observed silently from a distance, offering guidance only when necessary. Jason's human instincts proved invaluable. He adapted quickly, balancing courage with caution, strategy with empathy. When faced with a figure representing a rival faction attempting to mislead him, he used observation and critical thinking to see through the deception. The elders watching were murmuring among themselves, clearly impressed by the human's adaptability. At the labyrinth's center, he encountered the final challenge, a holographic simulation of a scenario where Lyris was in danger. Jason realized that this test was as much about his willingness to protect her as it was about strategy or intelligence. Without hesitation, he devised a plan that minimized harm, using both his knowledge and what Lyris had taught him. The simulation concluded with him successfully rescuing her figure, demonstrating courage, quick thinking, and empathy. Lyris approached him once the simulation ended. Her eyes shone with admiration. "You have done more than survive the test. You have shown the qualities that matter most: integrity, courage, and respect. That is the strength of your kind. Humans adapt, you innovate, you persevere. That is why you are capable of more than many assume. You have proven that your species can meet our standards, even when traditions are unfamiliar." For the first time, he realized that humans could earn respect even among advanced alien civilizations. He had thought of himself as ordinary, but through adaptability, courage, and moral judgment, he had shown that humanity had value beyond Earth. Lyris placed a hand lightly on his arm. "You have done well," she said. "Not as a human, but as a partner, a friend, and someone worthy of trust. We balance each other." Rival factions, political intrigue, and interstellar dangers still awaited them, but the trials had shown him and Lyris that together, they could overcome challenges that neither could face alone. That night, aboard the ship, Jason and Lyris reflected on the day's events. "I can't believe we made it," Jason said, leaning back. "I thought I'd mess everything up. You used your mind, your heart, and your courage. That is why we succeeded. Humans may be young in the galaxy, but they are capable of remarkable things. This partnership is no longer accidental. It is necessary and it is valuable. Together, we are stronger than any challenge we might face." He had faced societal pressures, cultural complexities, and moral tests, and had emerged stronger, wiser, and more confident. Lyris rested beside him, her presence a quiet reassurance. Jason felt a sense of belonging he had never known. For the first time, he understood that humanity's strength was not in technology or power alone, but in adaptability, morality, and the willingness to learn. These were qualities that transcended species, bridging gaps between worlds. As the ship drifted silently toward the next destination, Jason thought about the future. There would be more tests, more dangers, and more challenges. But he was ready. With Lyris by his side, he knew they could face whatever the galaxy threw at them. And somewhere deep inside, Jason realized something extraordinary. Humans, though young and underestimated, had the capacity to rise to challenges that no one expected. Courage, empathy, creativity, and integrity were universal languages, and he had begun to speak them fluently. Their adventure was far from over, but one truth had become clear. Together, human and alien, they could face the galaxy, not as strangers but as equals. And that, Jason thought with a quiet smile, was the real beginning of their story. The journey to the heart of Lyris's homeworld was tense but purposeful. Jason and Lyris had already faced danger, puzzles, and tests of character, but nothing compared to the final council gathering. This was where the elders would decide whether Jason's presence in Lyris's life could continue in good standing, and whether humans could be trusted allies of her people. The gravity of the moment weighed on Jason heavily, but Lyris's calm and measured presence helped him steady his thoughts. As they approached the Grand Council chamber, Jason could see why her society was renowned throughout the galaxy. Towers of crystal spiraled into the sky, catching the light of the twin suns. Bridges spanned between hovering gardens, and alien citizens moved gracefully along suspended walkways. The sheer elegance of it was overwhelming, yet Jason focused on the task at hand. Lyris's people were not impressed by appearances alone. They valued character, honor, and insight above all. The chamber itself was magnificent. Columns of glowing crystal rose high, casting prismatic light across the polished floor. The elders were seated in a semicircle, their robes intricate and ceremonial. Each elder's eyes, sharp and discerning, fixed on Jason as he stepped forward with Lyris at his side. "Jason Miller of Earth," began the head elder, his voice echoing in the vast hall. "You have traversed our tests, survived our challenges, and demonstrated remarkable courage and wisdom. Yet, the final judgment rests on your understanding of partnership, duty, and honor." He had always been an ordinary human, a trader with curiosity and courage, but no formal training in diplomacy or alien traditions. Now, everything he had learned and all the instincts he had relied upon were to be judged. Lyris placed her hand lightly on his arm. "Remember," she said softly, "trust in your abilities. You have adapted before, you will adapt again. Speak honestly, act with integrity, and show them your respect for life, for duty, and for our connection." What would he do if he faced a situation where protecting one life meant endangering another? How would he honor the traditions of a society he barely understood? Jason answered thoughtfully, admitting his limitations when necessary, but always emphasizing his desire to act with fairness and respect. The elders listened carefully, exchanging subtle glances. Jason realized that honesty was as important as intelligence. Pretense or deception would have been fatal. His straightforward human perspective, guided by the lessons Lyris had taught him, impressed the council more than any polished speech could. Next, he faced a test of strategy. A holographic simulation projected a crisis across the planet, a sudden natural disaster that required quick decisions, coordination, and moral judgment. Jason quickly assessed the situation, directing resources efficiently, prioritizing the safety of both citizens and infrastructure. Lyris whispered advice when necessary, but mostly she let him act. His ingenuity combined with her insight allowed them to solve the simulation faster than any other outsider had ever managed. Jason noticed something remarkable during this trial. The elders did not interfere, even when his actions deviated from traditional methods. They were observing not just the outcome, but his reasoning, his judgment, and his ability to act responsibly in an unfamiliar environment. The final test was the most personal. Jason was asked to demonstrate his willingness to protect and honor Lyris, not as property, but as a partner and equal. The council projected a scenario in which she was in danger, surrounded by hostile forces while attempting to mediate a delicate dispute. Jason was given limited resources and little guidance. Every choice carried risk. He acted instinctively, relying on human creativity and empathy. He constructed diversions, negotiated with the aggressors using careful reasoning, and found a path to safety that preserved both Lyris's honor and the lives of those involved. When he succeeded, the holographic scenario dissolved, and the elders remained silent for a moment, absorbing the demonstration. Lyris stepped forward, her voice clear and strong. "Jason has not only met the challenges I could foresee, but he has also shown qualities that surpass expectation. Courage, intelligence, and empathy are evident in his every action. He has honored me, not as property, but as a partner, and he has demonstrated respect for our people's traditions. Your actions speak louder than any words. You have proven that your species, though different in culture and biology, possesses qualities that are worthy of trust and admiration. Humans, through you, have shown courage, creativity, and morality in ways that we have rarely observed." For the first time, he realized that he had not only survived the tests, but had elevated the perception of his species in the eyes of an advanced civilization. Humanity, through him, had shone brightly among the stars. The elders conferred quietly among themselves. When they returned, their expressions were calmer, almost approving. "Jason Miller," the head elder said, "you are recognized as an ally and partner, not only to Lyris but to her people. Your ingenuity, courage, and respect for life have earned our confidence. Your presence here is a testament to the strength and adaptability of humans. Your actions honor our people, and they honor you. Together, we are capable of more than we could ever be alone. Jason and Lyris were now seen as allies, demonstrating that humans could integrate with alien societies without compromising dignity or principles. After the ceremony, Jason and Lyris returned to their ship. The weight of the day's events slowly lifted, replaced with a sense of accomplishment and possibility. Jason reflected on how far he had come, from a trader who accidentally pressed a button to someone who had proven the value of humanity across the stars. "You've changed everything," he said quietly, looking at Lyris as she watched the stars. "Perhaps we have changed each other," she replied. "I have learned much from your creativity, courage, and empathy. And you have learned the importance of patience, strategy, and understanding beyond your world." Jason shared knowledge of Earth technology, trade systems, and strategies, while Lyris taught him about her civilization's philosophy, diplomacy, and traditions. Their collaboration created bridges between worlds, showing that cooperation between species was possible and beneficial. One day, while preparing for another mission, Jason paused to look at Lyris. "You know," he said, "I never expected to end up here, proving humans' worth across the galaxy. We adapt, we care, we find solutions when others can't. That's something worth showing the universe." The stars seemed brighter, as if reflecting the achievements of humanity in the eyes of alien civilizations. Jason felt a deep pride, not arrogance, but quiet satisfaction in knowing that humans could rise to challenges that once seemed impossible. Their next mission awaited, filled with unknown planets, potential dangers, and new cultures to understand. But Jason no longer felt fear or doubt. He knew that with Lyris at his side, he could face whatever came their way. Their partnership had grown into something extraordinary, a true bond of trust, respect, and collaboration that transcended species. In that moment, Jason realized the essence of HFY, humanity, F***K, yeah, not in dominance, but in ingenuity, courage, empathy, and adaptability. He had proven that humans could shine brightly, even among advanced alien civilizations, not by overwhelming power, but by the qualities that made them uniquely human. As the ship lifted from the planet, Jason glanced at Lyris. "No matter what the galaxy throws at us next, we'll handle it together." Together. The galaxy was vast, the challenges many, but Jason knew one undeniable truth. Humanity, through him, had earned its place among the stars. And for the first time, he understood that his species' greatest power lay not in weapons or numbers, but in the human heart, mind, and spirit. Together, Jason and Lyris set a course for new adventures, ready to show the universe that humans could thrive anywhere, illuminate the unknown, and leave a legacy of courage, intelligence, and honor among the stars. The story of their journey, accidental, challenging, and extraordinary, was only just beginning.